Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I really want to keep attention on what's going on in Ukraine. We just had I think, a really interesting interview with Maria Barabash, who actually worked with the President Zelensky of Ukraine and has a first eye view on what's going on in Ukraine. I now want to be joined by another fascinating individual that I've met, Tertychnyi, who is a lawyer in Kiev. And he's going to bring us his perspective on what's going on in Ukraine today. And you may ask, why do I want to talk to these real people rather than just the politicians, rather than just the military experts about what's going on in Ukraine? Because I think we need to understand what it's like to actually live through what's going on in this Russian invasion of Ukraine, what it's like to try to keep working, what it's like to have a family in a condo or apartment in Kiev when you're being bombarded on a nightly basis with missiles. It's just unfathomable what's going on. In our time, it's like we've gone back to 1944. So Tertychnyi has now joined us. He's a lawyer in Kiev, Ukraine. Taras, tell me what's going on with you and your life and Kiev and this counteroffensive.
Well, I'm in Kiev. It's fine, and it feels safe, at least for a person who survived the Kiev offensive in February and March this year.
Right.
The life is in many ways back to normal. Like we have like the actual city life with all stuff. We just have a curfew in the night, and that's basically it. All the services, all the venues, everything is there.
Venues, of course. Like, are the restaurants, the bars, the opera open again?
Yes, I'm not sure about the opera as it is, but the theaters are there. So like everything is more or less open. Yes, we have like entertainment, but of course it has to end earlier for people to leave earlier and be home before the curfew. Of course, there are less people in the city because still there are many people who moved out, didn't come back. And they are either in other parts of Ukraine or abroad. Also, of course, we have an occasional air raid alert, I think once in 2 or 3 days. Luckily, nothing has fallen for the last several weeks here in Kiev. So it really feels like, in fact, it is often disregarded by Kievans. You can see people just walking around the streets like nothing happens.
Really? Even when there's an air raid siren going?
Yes. That's may sound reckless.
Well, there's lots of philosophers that say that, or psychologists, that you sort of get used to crazy situations after a while.
Yes, correct. And like the experience tells us that there was nothing like dangerous during the last many weeks here in Kiev, and therefore like it's just a human nature that we hope that in the future it will be something like the same. Now, by the way, just right now as we speak, I have this air raid alert. I don't know if you hear it.
Yes.
On my smartphone, and like it is recommending to go to a safe place right now.
Well, if you have to leave, please do so.
No, I'm a typical Kievite in that regard. I feel pretty safe. Well, you have to be careful. Like I'm in the area where there is no like military or quasi-military objects around me, or even anything like special, like no power plant, nothing that can be of interest to Russian missile. So it is it has to be an unfortunate accident to have a missile that will hit somewhere close to my home right now. Yeah, and objectively, it is very, very little probability. Luckily, here in Kiev, because closer to the front line, it's much worse, much worse.
I can understand.
Kharkiv and Mykolaiv, they have a daily, every day for the 6-7 months from the beginning of the war, they have shelling every day. So
Dennis, are you able to work?
Yes. Again, thanks God, I'm able to work. As we spoke back in March, I think, I don't remember. I said that like the communications were there, but in fact, like my my composition was not very good at that time because it was super stressful, and I only did some very necessary work for my clients. But now I would say I have largely recovered from that stress, and I can work. And again, we have like serious problems in the economy. Like the recent report said that we have 40% of people unemployed in Ukraine.
40% unemployed.
40% unemployed, and it corresponds with like a lot of businesses that were closed. Yeah. I had to downscale my business, the legal services, because we are in service sector. We depend on the general economic situation, and I know from my clients that it has like it has fallen sharply since the beginning of the war.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but still, like there is some optimism there, because in the summer it was very bad, and since the beginning of September, I see like some recovery. I have clients calling me back, somebody who I didn't spoke to since February, when we agreed that we will stop everything and until better times.
Yeah. Tadas, let me ask you, we've heard very encouraging news about a counteroffensive in the east, I guess the northeast, near Kharkiv. What do you hear, and what do you think about this?
Well, it is as it is. I read a lot of like US or British media, and the reporting is quite correct, as much as I can judge, because I'm here, not there. But I know a couple of people who are there, who are serving in the army, and well, it is like it was a very successful, very smart, very skillful operation by our forces. Of course, it came at a cost of like deaths. There were many announcements of very good, very like talented people who have died, perished in this particular counteroffensive during the last 2 weeks, because those people had their lives in like before the war, the civilian lives, and yes, the front line, the Russian front line in that particular part has collapsed. They actually fled. They left a lot of equipment and positions, etc. And this is more or less similar to what we've seen in winter or early spring, when they retreated from northern Ukraine, from around Kiev. And I think it's even worse for them, because they were literally running. And my understanding, my feeling is that Ukraine does not have enough forces right now to effectively occupy the territory that was freed by the Russians. And it is a very good problem to have, as you can imagine.
Very good problem to have. But also, I guess you've got prisoners of war that you have to ensure that you've got security over, and there must be some Russian sympathizing people that are left in that occupied territory.
Well, maybe like the actual like hardline collaborants, they are fleeing. I assume most of them are fleeing the like to the Russia or other Russian occupied territories, and so this problem is resolved this way. And if there are some collaborants who were captured, and well, they will be prosecuted through the court procedure,
Right.
like fair trial, everything as needed, and they will have their sentence.
Taras, tell me, what do you think is going to happen?
You mean short term, long term?
Are you optimistic? Do you think you're going to be victorious? Do you think you're going to be in this war for 5 years? What does a lawyer working in Kiev, obviously very intelligent, well-read, think about this current situation?
Well, there is a very positive dynamic, of course, and we have very high morals. We had very high morals before that, and of course, we have like super boosted morale after the successful counteroffensive. So, like, I'm 100% sure that Ukraine will win this war.
100%.
100%. The only question is when and how, at what price. And Ukraine greatly depends in that on the Western, well, not Western, but I would say free world, because we have like Japan, South Korea, and like every democratic state in the world helping us. Well, maybe not every, but a lot of them from all over the world. If it is, if that support, first of all, military support, but also financial support, because you can imagine we have like large parts of our territories destroyed, like totally, like all the communications destroyed, electricity destroyed, water supply destroyed, everything is destroyed, houses destroyed. We have a lot of, and we have like 50% fallen economy. We need a lot of support. If that support is there, then we will win. I don't know, maybe in a year or something like that. Like the dynamic is very positive, and we just need more weapons, more powerful weapons, and some financial support until the end of the war.
Taras, be safe. Thank you for joining in with us again. Let's keep in contact. I really appreciate the man on the street, the lawyer in Kiev view of what's going on. If for any reason there's someone that wants to hire a lawyer in Kiev, do you have a website or an email or something like that people can contact you through?
Yes, absolutely. I think my LinkedIn profile and also website of my firm is there.
Taras,
so I can provide it to you.
That'd be great. Really appreciate it. Taras, be safe. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Brian.
That's our show for tonight. Thanks everyone for joining us. I'm on every Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock Eastern time. And you can stream me online, even from Kiev at www.saga960am.ca. I think we had two interesting guests tonight. And I want to keep doing this because I agree with Taras. I think that Ukraine is going to ultimately win, but it's going to take a while, and it's going to take our continued support. And so we can't forget what's going on in Ukraine right now. And we need to keep that support coming. Good night, everybody.